The Dreamstone of Torg. Copyright 2026, ESA Millila, all rights reserved. Follow my Facebook page. Something is Listening Vikings. For ages 13 and up. The boy was running. Rune's bare feet slapped against the frozen mud of the alley, each breath a knife in his chest. Behind him, boots. Heavy. Gaining. He risked a glance back and saw them, 3 of them, Bjorn's boys, with their clubs and their grins. Bjorn himself led the pack, a wall of scarred muscle with a taste for breaking things smaller than him. Rune skidded around a corner and slammed into a stack of barrels. Ale sloshed. A dog barked. He pushed off, ignoring the splinters in his palms, and dove into the shadow between 2 longhouses. He pressed his back against the cold wattle and daub, held his breath. The boots pounded past. Their voices faded, swearing, promising pain. He waited until his heart stopped trying to escape his chest. Then he waited longer. When he finally crept out, the village of Eierbeck was settling into its evening hush. Smoke rose from roof holes. Somewhere, a woman laughed. Normal things. Things that belonged to people who weren't Rune. He was 10. He was an orphan. He was small for his age, which meant he was perfect for squeezing into tight spaces, which was why Eldrick the One-Handed kept him alive. Eldrick was a trader of strange things, amber from the south, walrus ivory from the frozen coasts, and other items he didn't name but sold to men who arrived at night. Rune was his crawler, the one who could wriggle into ship holds and storehouses to retrieve goods that Eldrick claimed were rightfully his. It was a bad life, but it was a life. The dream started 3 nights later. Rune was sleeping in his usual place, a nest of old nets in the corner of Eldrick's workshop, surrounded by the smells of tar and salt and mystery. He woke, or thought he woke, to find himself standing in a place that was not the workshop. It was a hall. Vast. The ceiling lost in shadows so deep they felt solid. Pillars of black stone rose around him, carved with shapes that squirmed at the edge of his vision. And in the center of the hall, on a throne of antlers and bone, sat a figure. It was a man. Or had been once. Now he was something else, tall as a tree, thin as a winter branch, with skin the color of old birch bark. His eyes were closed. His chest did not rise. But Rune knew, with the absolute certainty of dreams, that he was not dead. He was waiting. From the shadows around the throne, shapes emerged. Men, women, children. They walked slowly, stiffly, their eyes hollow. They approached the sleeping figure and touched him, a hand on his knee, a finger to his cheek, a forehead pressed to his foot. And as they touched him, they faded, became mist, were gone. Rune tried to scream. No sound came. One of the hollow-eyed figures turned, looked directly at him. It was a girl about his age, with hair the color of straw and a wound on her throat that glistened black. She took a step toward him. Then hands were shaking him, and he was back in the workshop, and Eldrick was cursing him for screaming in his sleep. The dream came again the next night. And the next. Each time, the hull. The sleeping figure. The hollow people feeding him with their touch. Each time, the girl with the straw hair came closer. On the 3rd night, she was close enough that he could see the pattern of her eyelashes, the way her lips moved silently, trying to speak. He woke screaming. Eldrick beat him for it. "You're no good to me, Mad," the one-handed man growled, rubbing his knuckles. "Sort yourself out or find another place to sleep." Rune sorted himself out by not sleeping. For 2 nights, he sat huddled in his nets, jumping at every creak, his eyes burning with exhaustion. But on the 3rd night, sleep took him whether he wanted it or not. This time, the girl was standing over him. He was on the floor of the great hall now, not at the entrance. The sleeping figure loomed above, closer than ever. And the girl knelt beside him, her hollow eyes fixed on his face. "Can you see me?" she whispered. Her voice was like wind through dead grass. Rune nodded, unable to speak. "You have to tell them." She glanced back at the sleeping figure. "He's hungry. He's always hungry. But he won't wake until we're all gone. And when he wakes..." She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Around them, the hollow people continued their slow procession, touching, fading, dying again, in the only way they had left. Who is he? Rune forced out. Torg, she whispered. The dreamer. The forgotten. He was the god of the between places. The moments just before sleep. The thoughts you have when you're not quite awake. They don't pray to him anymore. They don't even remember his name. So he sleeps. And we. She gestured at herself, at the others. We're what's left of the ones who die in that space. The ones who slip away between heartbeats. He holds us. Feeds on us. Keeps us from passing on. How do I stop it? The girl's hollow eyes widened. Stop it? You can't stop it. No one remembers how. But maybe you can wake him. If he wakes, he might let us go. He might remember what he was supposed to be. Rune woke with the name burning in his chest. Torg. He started asking questions. Carefully. Eldric's boys, the ones who did the violent work, were always lurking, and questions were dangerous. But there was an old woman who mended sails near the wharf, and she told stories to the children sometimes. Rune found her alone one evening, her needles flashing in the firelight. Torg, he said quietly. Her needles stopped. She looked at him with eyes milky with age, and for a moment, he thought he saw fear there. Where did you hear that name, boy? A dream. She was quiet for a long time. Then she set down her sewing and beckoned him closer. Her voice, when it came, was barely a whisper. My grandmother used to speak of him. The dreamer. They left offerings at the foot of the bed, a cup of water, a carved stone, in case he visited in the night. Said he could show you truths you couldn't see awake. Said he guarded the passage between sleeping and waking. She shook her head. Then the new gods came. Herger and Brock and the rest. Promised bigger things. Better things. People forgot the small gods, the quiet ones. Torg most of all. Where did they leave the offerings? Rune asked. She told him. A place on the headland, north of the village. A flat stone, half buried now, marked with carvings that no one remembered how to read. Rune went that night. The moon was a thin slice of silver, barely enough to see by. He stumbled through the scrub, his heart pounding at every rustle in the darkness. But he found it, the flat stone, just as the old woman had described. The carvings were worn nearly smooth, but he traced them with his fingers and felt something. A thrum. A hum. Deep in his bones. He had nothing to offer. No cup, no carved stone. Just himself. He lay down on the cold stone, staring up at the stars, and willed himself to sleep. The hall was different this time. Brighter. Warmer. The pillars still loomed, but now torches flickered in iron brackets. The hollow people still shuffled toward the throne, but some of them paused, looked around, confusion flickering in their dead eyes. And the figure on the throne, Torg, was stirring. His birch bark skin twitched. His long fingers curled. His eyes, still closed, moved beneath their lids as if watching something urgent. Rune walked toward him. The hollow girl appeared at his side, her cold hand finding his. He feels you, she whispered. You're the first one in generations to come seeking him. To speak his name with intention. Rune stopped at the foot of the throne. Up close, Torg was terrifying, immense, ancient. His face a mask of stillness that somehow held more pain than any screaming mouth. Torg, Rune said. His voice echoed in the vast space. I remember you. The god's eyes opened. They were the deepest thing Rune had ever seen. Not dark exactly, but filled with layers, dreams within dreams, memories of memories. They fixed on Rune, and the weight of them pressed him to his knees. You. The god's voice was like the first creak of a door that hadn't opened in 1,000 years. You are real. Not a dream. Not a shade. I'm Rune. I'm 10. I steal things for a man with one hand. The words tumbled out. He didn't know why he was saying them. The girl said you were hungry. She said you wouldn't wake until everyone was gone. But I'm here. So you're awake. So you can let them go now. Torg looked past him, at the hollow people, at the girl with the straw hair and the wound on her throat. Something shifted in his ancient face. Recognition. Sorrow. I forgot, he whispered. I forgot what I was guarding. I forgot that they were waiting. I was so hungry for the touch of anyone, for any sign that I was not alone, that I took and forgot to give. He rose from the throne. It was like watching a mountain stand. He walked among the hollow people, and as he passed, he touched them, a brush of his bark skin fingers on their foreheads. And they smiled. And they faded. But this time, they faded into light, not mist. They faded like people finally going home. The girl was the last. She looked at Rune, and her hollow eyes were warm now. "Thank you," she said. And then she was gone. The hall was empty now. Just Rune and the god, standing in a silence that felt like the beginning of something. "You saved them," Torg said. "You remembered, and you saved them. But now I am awake, and I am still forgotten. Still hungry. What happens now?" Torg looked down at him, and for the first time, something like a smile touched his birch bark face. "Now you wake up. And you come back. Tomorrow night. And the night after. You tell me about the world. You tell me about the people who don't remember me. And in return, I give you something you need." "What's that?" "Safety. When you sleep, you will be in my hall. No one can hurt you here. No Bjorn, no Eldrick. You will wake rested, and you will have dreams that show you things, hidden things, lost things. Things that will keep you alive in a world that wants to break you." Rune should have been afraid. He should have run. But all he felt was a warmth spreading through his chest, a feeling he barely recognized because he hadn't felt it since his mother died 3 years ago. It felt like someone was watching out for him. He woke on the flat stone, the sun just cresting the horizon. His body was stiff with cold, but his mind was clear. Clearer than it had been in years. And in his palm, when he opened his fist, was something that hadn't been there before. A small stone. Smooth, dark, carved with the image of a sleeping face. He tucked it into his tunic and walked back to Irebeck. That evening, Bjorn found him near the wharf. The big man grinned, his boys spreading out to block any escape. "Thought you could hide forever, rat?" Rune stood very still. He was terrified. But beneath the terror was something else, a certainty. A knowledge that when he closed his eyes tonight, he would be somewhere else. Somewhere safe. Bjorn's fist connected with his jaw. The world went dark. And then Rune was opening his eyes in the great hall, Torg watching him from the throne, and the pain was gone. "Welcome back," the god said. Rune touched his jaw. No swelling. No ache. Just the memory of pain. "They hit me," he said. "I know. I felt it. The between place is not far from the waking world." Torg leaned forward. "But while you are here, you are mine. And nothing that is mine can be broken." In the morning, Rune woke in the alley where he'd fallen. His jaw was bruised, tender. But he could move it. And when he sat up, he saw Bjorn's boys standing over him, their faces strange. Uncertain. "The big man's sick," one of them muttered. Woke up screaming. Said he dreamed something chased him through a hall of bones. Said it touched him, and now he can't feel his hand. They backed away, crossed themselves with signs to Herger and Brocker, and left him there. Rune sat in the alley, the morning sun warming his face. He pulled out the Dreamstone, turned it over in his palm. In the daylight, he could see something new, a mark on his own hand, pale against his skin. The same sleeping face. From the headland. A whisper on the wind. Not words, exactly. A feeling. A promise. "Come back. Tell me more." Rune stood, tucked the stone away, and walked toward the longhouse where the sail-mender worked. He had questions. He had a whole world to describe to a sleeping god. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a great hall waited, warm and safe, for a boy who had nowhere else to go. The end. Follow my Facebook page. Something is Listening Vikings.
Hello, Samuel here, and this story will continue. I don't know how, but maybe check the links in future, and hopefully, yeah, maybe gonna be like ebook or one new part 2. Never knows.